In part 4, we left off with the following illustration. Note the shaded area which represents the Garden of Eden with its 2 trees. Also note that at the top of the illustration, we have Hebrews 4:12, where we read, "For the word of God is living and active, sharper than any two-edged sword, piercing to the division of soul and of spirit, of joints and of marrow, and discerning the thoughts and intentions of the heart." One word of God which is twofold, that is, living and active. It's like one sword but with 2 edges, dividing the soul from the spirit, the joints from the marrow, and discerning the thoughts and intentions of the heart. In keeping with the twofold action of the Word of God, we have the left hand and right hand of God, as well as the lesser light and greater light. This is, of course, where we get our title, the 2 great lights. This is taken from the following. "And God said, Let there be lights in the expanse of the heavens to separate the day from the night, and let them be for signs, and for seasons, and for days and years, and let them be lights in the expanse of the heavens to give light upon the earth." And it was so. And God made the 2 great lights, the greater light to rule the day, and the lesser light to rule the night, and the stars. And God set them in the expanse of the heavens to give light on the earth, to rule over the day and over the night, and to separate the light from the darkness. And God saw that it was good. And there was evening and there was morning, the 4th day. 2 is the number of division and witness. As we see, the 2 great lights were made to separate the day from the night, where the greater light of the sun rules the day, and the lesser light of the moon rules the night. And just as the Word of God is one sword with 2 edges, so the light of the sun and moon is but one light. There are heavenly bodies and earthly bodies, but the glory of the heavenly is of one kind, and the glory of the earthly is of another. There is one glory of the sun, and another glory of the moon, and another glory of the stars, for star differs from star in glory. So is it with the resurrection of the dead. What is sown is perishable, what is raised is imperishable. Regarding the resurrection of the dead, Paul connects the glory of the heavenly bodies to sowing and reaping. With glory in mind, consider the following. Now, if the ministry of death, carved in letters on stone, came with such glory that the Israelites could not gaze at Moses' face because of its glory, which was being brought to an end, will not the ministry of the Spirit have even more glory? For if there was glory in the ministry of condemnation, the ministry of righteousness must far exceed it in glory. Here, Paul contrasts the Old Covenant law with the New Covenant promise, referring to the glory of both. But just as the sun is the greater light of the 2 great lights, so the glory of the New Covenant ministry of the Spirit and righteousness far exceeds the glory of the Old Covenant law of God, carved in letters on stone. However, our spiritual transition must begin at the left hand of God or tree of knowledge in order to reach the right hand of God and tree of life, moving from the law to its spiritual essence, which is love. The most fascinating aspect of what I am sharing with you is this. All of the connections in this illustration span thousands of years of writings, beginning with the Genesis record and culminating in the book of Revelation. Please consider. And a great sign appeared in heaven, a woman clothed with the sun, with the moon under her feet, and on her head a crown of 12 stars. On the 4th day of creation, we have the sun, moon, and stars. Here, John sees a great sign in heaven where a woman possesses all 3 of these heavenly bodies. Who is this woman? It is Jerusalem above, typifying the new covenant promise of God, hence the reason she is clothed with the greater light and glory of the sun, while the lesser light and glory of the old covenant law is under her feet. And on her head, a crown of 12 stars, denoting the divine government of God as portrayed by the 12 apostles. In perfect agreement with our two being one, we see that both covenants are but one city, that is, Jerusalem. But again, what is the difference? Present Jerusalem is earthly, while Jerusalem above is heavenly. Present Jerusalem refers to us in our natural and carnal state, while Jerusalem above refers to us in a spiritual position. Good, then evil, then life. We then see Galatians 6:8, the twofold essence of the one principle of sowing and reaping, followed by what Paul describes as the natural body and the spiritual body. In keeping with Hebrews 4:12, the natural body refers to the soul, while the spiritual body to the spirit. Finally, we have the first man, Adam, the last Adam, and one new man. Here's what we read in Ephesians 2. For he himself is our peace, who has made both one and has broken down the middle wall of separation, having abolished in his flesh the enmity, that is, the law of commandments contained in ordinances, so as to create in himself one new man from the two, thus making peace, and that he might reconcile them both to God in one body through the cross, thereby putting to death the enmity. Do you see it? These passages are stamped all over with the understanding of two becoming one, or even better yet, one new man from the two. Who is this new man? It is the self minus pride, having been humbled through the cross, that is, through the message of the cross, the message of self-sacrifice. Two becoming one. This is atonement. At one meant. This is life. I do not pray for these alone, but also for those who will believe in me through their word, that they all may be one, as you, Father, are in me, and I in you, that they also may be one in us, that the world may believe that you sent me.